Hey guys, James here with Waterford Business Solutions. And this week we wanted to talk about an impending major change to tax law that's going to affect a lot of contractors out there. For years, we have had energy efficient tax credits that have existed that contractors have been able to talk on, be able to sell on, everything like that. And especially those in like the electrical who are doing solar installations or even in HVAC when we're dealing with high efficiency units being installed. That's been areas where you could encourage clients to go for getting some money back on their tax return or getting some tax credits there to help with the cost of these units. But due to the new tax law changes that are coming out or that have come out, those will be ending. So we wanted to take some time before we got to the end of the year to go over exactly what that looks like. When we're taking a look at these energy efficient tax credits, they've existed for a number of years in varying different capacities, some higher than others depending on the administration, some units not allowed, some allowed, but really for a lot of the contractors and home service industries, almost every single person has been able to use this in their business somehow. Electricians have the solar panels and or the battery cell backups that you could use there. HVAC has got geothermal systems that could be installed, or high efficiency units that could be installed, or even boilers if you're doing that work there. Plumbing, you've got boilers and high efficiency water heaters, and even just in general construction, doors and windows and even roofs and insulation all had energy efficient tax credits that could be applied to them. But all of that now with the big beautiful bill that came out here in beginning of August, that's all going to start drying up here. And all of it, most of it at least, pretty much expires at the end of December of 2025 here. So on December 31st of 2025, most of all of this stuff is going to expire. Those solar credits, the energy audits for homes, the insulation, all of that stuff is starting to expire. There's a few things that kind of go over and will trail into kind of mid next year. But for the big stuff going into what most of our clients are doing with the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, that is all going to expire here at December 31st of 2025. And looking into it and seeing everything, it looks like the installation's got to be done. Now, on the solar, we're still waiting on some guidance here. Does it just need to be installed or does it need to be functioning? We're still kind of waiting on some information on that because that hasn't come through yet, at least at the time of the recording of this video. If that changes, I'll make sure that we add in a little addition here for that. But with that, it's going to be a question of, does all of this just need to be installed and ready to go? Like with HVAC, the install has to be done, the final invoices have to be sent. It can't be something where they're signing a contract and you're installing it the first week of January. No, it has to be signed, you have to have the installation done, you have to have everything turned on and ready to go by December 31st. Solar, the question's going to come down to, does your install have to be done and we're just waiting on the energy companies or the utility companies to come in and do the final sign off there? Or does everything have to be 100% done, including the utility company signing off there? So that's going to be the big question there that we have to really take a look at. But all of this will be a major change. It'll be a bigger issue with the electricians when we're talking solar or when we're talking the battery packs, because those were such large credits. We're looking at 30+% credits there. That is not something that we had with the HVAC or with the plumbing or with the exterior doors or anything like that. So that's definitely a big swing there that it's going to definitely impact solar a lot more than it will any of the other industries. But everyone needs to be aware, if you've ever sold on anything saying, hey, you can apply for a tax credit, as of right now and probably for the foreseeable future, probably the next 3 to 6 years, those credits aren't going to exist. So if in your sales paperwork, if in your information that you're providing to clients, we see it most of the time with electricians, that they'll be like, hey, it's going to cost you this, but you're eligible for a credit of up to, so your cost could be this. If you've ever done something like that, make sure as you kind of get more into the end of November, definitely mid-December, that you're changing kind of the information on there. And even now, go ahead and on your estimates and everything that you're providing out, if you've ever done something like that or you still do something like that, make sure that you're adding disclaimers of the fact that this is going to expire. So if you provide an estimate today, sure, hopefully your estimates are only good for 30 days, but you want the customer to know, like, hey, sure, this estimate's only good for 30 days, but if you come back to me in December, this could be wildly different, not just from an increase in materials, but more specifically from an increase in not having that tax credit available anymore. So you've got to make sure that your sales tactics are changing and all of your sales information are changing so that customers aren't misled, because that's the last thing you want to do, is forget to make these changes and then customers get mad saying, well, you told me that this was available, even though now you can't apply for that or you can't get that anymore. So it's all important things there that we want to make sure we're getting ahead of, which is why we did this video. Now, if you're doing HVAC, plumbing, exterior, windows, doors, insulation, that was a much lower credit. A lot of companies I've seen didn't really do a lot of information on that, didn't push on their sales paperwork super hard on that. But if you were selling those higher end units that could qualify, it's important that you make sure that you make those modifications too. The other thing we've got to think of is, going forward, how is this going to affect your business? How is this going to affect you? If you've been highly reliant on selling these systems and selling this stuff with these credits, and now these credits are gone, and it's going to cause your pricing to go up, what choices do you have? So the other thing that I want to make sure that everyone's doing right now is analyzing, okay, how are we going to modify our business practices come into December, into January? If you don't think that your market can sustain the increases in prices or the loss of that tax credit for customers there, then you may need to drop down the level of equipment that you're providing. You may not be able to do the high-end Linux and high-end train systems anymore, or the super energy efficient mini split systems anymore, because that credit isn't there. So without that credit, it may not allow you to sell those the same way. So it's definitely something that we want to start considering. How are you going to change how you're running your business, what you're doing with your business, and how you're basically dealing with customers, and start making that transition today while you still have advantage of it, rather than wait until everything takes effect and then you can't take advantage of this stuff anymore. It's going to be a huge factor there that we want to take a look at, and that we want to make sure that you are planning ahead for, because so often I've seen these changes happen in, whether it be permitting structure or building code structure or even tax structure, and businesses don't adapt to the changes in the market from these changes here in general, and then those businesses struggle and or fail. So if you've ever worked with these areas, make sure that you are going ahead and being proactive and reworking your business plans to help you out there. If you haven't super focused on these areas, it's not going to be as big of a hit, but it's definitely something that it doesn't hurt for you to kind of mention to clients going forward. hey, I saw that you were looking at this high-end unit. You know that this doesn't qualify for the tax breaks or the tax credits anymore. If you're trying to outcompete a competitor, outcompete someone in general, and they're not selling truthfully, they're not informing the client of all of this, you making that one little addition could be a differentiation factor in why a customer would choose to work with you over why a customer would choose that other company there. So all little factors here to consider. If you're trying to figure out if this is going to be a big impact for you and you don't understand kind of your sales streams and everything like that, beyond doing accounting in general, this is really what we work here at Waterford on, is helping our customers understand beyond just the base profit, understanding exactly where their money's coming from and how they can better their business and grow their business from that. So if you're wanting a better understanding of that, feel free to reach out to us here at either info@waterfordbusiness.com by email or giving us a call at 864-351-0852.